Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is to cut through the marketing hype, look past all the beautiful press photos, and get right into the driver's seat of a major new electric vehicle, the Togg T10F.
Exactly. We aren't here for the glossy brochure. We've got a detailed, real-world source material, a really in-depth review that captures the vehicle's true personality.
And the goal here is to figure out if this thing is a brilliant tech showcase that actually makes driving better day to day.
Or, on the other hand, if it's just a frustratingly over-digitized machine, form over function, we're looking at what it genuinely feels like to live with this car.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the T10F, it's really built around one overwhelming feature. It's the first thing everyone talks about.
Oh, the screen.
The screen. I mean, the sources detail this absolutely massive display stretching from pillar to pillar. The entire dashboard is just one giant interactive canvas.
It is.
So the question we have to answer is, does that size actually translate into a better user experience? Or is this just a dramatic gimmick to, win the biggest screen competition?
Well, it's undeniable that the visual branding here is a massive win for... you open the door, you slide into that driver's seat, and the impact is immediate.
It has to be.
The source material says it goes from pillar to pillar, end to end. It is stunning. And look, as the reviewer noted, if you love gadgets, you will love this cockpit. This display is the core of the whole experience.
But the excitement, as you sort of hinted at, it seems to run headlong into reality pretty quickly. A dazzling display is great when the car is parked, but does it actually work when you're doing 60 miles an hour?
And that's the thing. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the sources immediately raise some serious red flags about practicality. The reviewer basically asks if this huge display is just a gimmick to look cool in photos.
Which is code for, it's not great to use.
It's code for potential functional pitfalls. And those pitfalls, they're rooted squarely in just basic human ergonomics.
Yeah, and this is probably the most relatable and frustrating pain point in almost all modern cars. We're talking about trying to do simple things like change the temperature or find a radio station on a flat touchscreen while you're bouncing over a pothole.
That interaction is described as difficult and distracting. And it brings us to this classic debate in car design, the missing knob.
The missing knob debate.
The reviewer in our source material just desperately misses physical buttons. And this isn't just, nostalgia for the 90s. This is about driver safety.
Right.
When you need to make a small adjustment, a physical knob gives you tactile feedback, haptic memory. You can adjust the volume without ever taking your eyes off.
But when you digitize that, when you turn the volume into a slider or an icon buried 3 menus deep, you're just introducing friction. You force the driver to look away, hunt for the icon, and be precise, all while the car is moving.
Exactly. And the source material has a very strong opinion here. A physical volume knob is, quote, just superior to a touch slider every single time.
Every single time. It's a small detail, but it's a constant minor frustration every time you get behind the wheel.
It really is. It highlights this fundamental tension. The engineers made a visually stunning cockpit, but they might have compromised the car's primary mission, which is safe, intuitive transport.
It's fascinating how that digital wow factor can undermine basic analog safety. But to be fair, the technology isn't a failure across the board.
Not at all.
If we look at the source material, there's one major universal win for the tech, and that's visibility.
Absolutely. The high-resolution camera system is fantastic. The ability to stitch together that clear, crisp 360-degree view around the car is a real technical triumph.
So parking is easy.
Parking this vehicle is described as a breeze. And this is a great example of technology actually solving a real problem, not creating a new one. It shows the engineering competence is definitely there.
So why do you think they nailed the camera system so perfectly, but then the basic controls are so frustrating? Is that just different teams with different priorities?
I think that's a really insightful question. It's likely a reflection of modern development. The interface team is focused on visual impact. The sensor team, on the other hand, is dealing with safety features, so they focus purely on ethics.
So you get this strange contrast between perfect sightlines through the screen and terrible controls on the screen.
Exactly, and that's a perfect pivot point. So let's leave the dazzling but distracting cockpit and talk about what's actually surrounding the driver. The comfort, the materials.
Right, the foundation seems pretty good. The sources say the driving position is lower than their SUV.
Which is intentional. It makes the driver feel more connected to the road. That's a subtle but really important detail. And the seats themselves are described as supportive.
But then we get to materials, and this is where that illusion of absolute luxury starts to break down a little.
Yeah, you see that familiar compromise. It's fascinating because the sources say the car feels premium enough in the places you touch and see all the time.
The dash, the steering wheel.
the stitching, yeah. But the reviewer quickly finds the trade-offs, the places they had to hit a price. There are some hard plastics down low where your knees might hit.
It's always down low, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
that reminder that they saved money in places they hope you won't notice.
It's a calculated risk. Most people don't notice on a 10-minute test drive. But for a car aiming for a premium feel, that little detail can compromise the whole illusion long term.
So you get the dazzle up high, but you get the durability question down low.
That's a great way to put it. But moving on from those compromises, the sources highlight a huge unexpected positive, the acoustic performance.
I found this detail so impressive, especially because it has frameless windows. The sound insulation is apparently stellar. The cabin is described as library quiet in here.
And that's the technically impressive part. Frameless windows are notoriously difficult to seal against high-speed wind noise, but they did it.
So they successfully isolated the passengers from the outside world. It shows that while the design team was focused on screens, the acoustic engineering team was really focused on passenger comfort.
It creates a fascinating juxtaposition. You have this incredibly quiet, peaceful cabin, which just makes the distracting touchscreen and all its little chimes and pings feel even louder and more intrusive.
That is an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Well, that quietness sets a high bar. Let's transition from the passenger experience to the actual drive, the driving dynamics.
Right. This is where the car's electric architecture really defines the feel.
We've got a very precise description of the steering. The sources characterize it as precise. You turn the wheel, the car goes exactly where you point it.
And that's a direct result of the EV layout. The heavy battery pack is really low in the chassis, so you get a super low center of gravity. It just kills body roll and keeps the car flat and responsive.
So the precision is just baked into the physics of the design. But what's the trade-off? With modern EVs, there always seems to be one.
And what's fascinating here is the loss of connection. While the steering is precise, the reviewer also calls the experience a bit numb. You lose that tactile connection. You don't feel the texture of the road through your fingertips. The precision is achieved digitally, which isolates you from what's actually happening on the asphalt.
Which is why the driving experience is characterized as very video game-like. You feel like you're operating a perfect simulator, not interacting with a real machine on a real road.
For many modern drivers, that's probably fine. They'll appreciate the ease and accuracy. It's a design philosophy that prioritizes competence over, let's say, emotional engagement.
Okay, let's talk ride comfort then. How does it handle all that battery weight? That usually means a firm suspension.
It is. The suspension is slightly on the firmer side to manage that weight. It's essential for stability.
So you feel the bumps.
You do. But the reviewer makes a crucial distinction. It's not harsh. The car is planted and not crashing over them. It absorbs the hit without losing composure. So again, highly competent.
And the acceleration.
Linear and smooth. It's that competent EV performance we expect, instant torque, but delivered predictably.
And it has different driving modes, of course. Sport mode sharpens everything up, makes the steering heavier. I'm guessing to try and fight that numb feeling.
It tries to add some artificial engagement, yeah. But the practical takeaway from the review is really telling. The reviewer leaves it in normal mode 90% of the time.
Why?
Because it's just more balanced. The aggression of sport mode doesn't really justify the trade-off in everyday smoothness. Normal mode is its natural habitat.
Which really reinforces the identity of the car. It's not trying to be some thrilling sports machine. It's a comfortable, competent, highly digitized daily driver.
Precisely. It's at its best when it's just being smooth and stable.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for the Togg T10F? We've seen a vehicle that absolutely nails certain things. The sound insulation, the camera tech, the precise handling.
But it struggles with the basic practical ergonomics of its touch-heavy interface and delivers a digitally precise but, analog numb driving feel.
It highlights this major question for this whole generation of cars. The T10F is a compelling tech showcase that you can drive, but it feels like there's a clear dividing line.
There is. You will either love the sheer amount of gadgets and forgive the frustrations, or you're someone who prefers analog simplicity, and you might find the whole thing overwhelming.
That tension really defines it. It's the hard plastics down low, contrasting with the high-res screens up high. It's wanting a simple volume knob while you're sitting in a library quiet cabin.
It is. And we've seen how tech can beautifully solve a complex problem like parking with that 360 camera. It makes it effortless.
Yet that same rush to digitize creates a brand new problem for something simple. like changing the radio station while you're trying to keep your eyes on the road.
So as manufacturers rush to put screens everywhere and get rid of physical controls, where is the line? Where does digital sophistication actually start to compromise driver safety and just intuitive control? And maybe more importantly, are we as consumers just accepting distraction as the price we have to pay for high-tech?
Something to mull over until our next deep dive.